And to talk more about a national championship at UW River Falls, we have a former fullback who ran like a freight train and blocked like he was angry at the earth. Started off at Division III football at UWRF and racked up over 1,000 yards his freshman year before deciding, yeah, I'm going to go walk on at a Power 5 school and blow those linebackers there too. Ended up leading one of the nastiest rushing attacks in the country, made Sports Illustrated covers, ran for a 57-yard touchdown in the Fiesta Bowl, broke face masks, broke defenders, and may have broken a few laws of physics as well. Then he took that same energy to the NFL and later to the barbecue pit and a stage with the guitar in hand, the runaway beer truck, legend of college football, Owen Schmitt. How are you today, man?
Pretty good, brother. How are you doing? Has your liver recovered?
It's funny. That game got over at like a 1 a.m. and then I went to the press conference and then the bars closed at like 2:30. So like I really didn't get to have a ton. It was probably more the night before that I was trying to recover from the night before the game at like the alumni meetup. So but yeah, not too bad at this point though. So um
Well, that's
you
good.
know, for you, obviously this is a cool to see, a school that you started off your career at win the national championship from your seat, both figuratively and literally at the game. What was it like seeing River Falls get to this point?
Oh man, it's been a wild journey. I got pulled in the O'Grady days, so we were a hardcore triple option team, as traditional as you get, and you know River Falls. My grandfather went to River Falls, played running back there. Uh, so it's been there's been a special place in the family, and Coach O has been he was friends of my grandfather's for a long time. They did Kenner Camp in Gilman
Hmm.
for you know a couple decades. So it's been very near and dear to my heart. But being able to watch this kind of journey, Matt's journey, uh, kind of build up and grow has been something else. And this year especially, obviously I'm in West Virginia, so I can't just come to the games whenever I want. So it was awesome, especially once the playoff run started. I was able to watch them on ESPN, and I was kind of just jotting back and forth with Joe and Matt, and just saying, "Hey, you guys are doing a hell of a job! Like, this is so awesome." Especially where the program has been and what it's had to overcome to get there. Now, when I was going there, and this was before when the Chiefs were actually using River Falls as a practice facility back in the day. But now you guys have this like lovely new like athletic facility. I mean, it's and I made some comments that I've been fortunate to go to a Division I program and to visit others and to go to the NFL and see what facilities look like at other places, and that is something special that you guys have there, and what a recruiting tool. And I'm sure it's helped tremendously throughout what Matt's been doing. But just for me to kind of step back and you know Sunday at the game, I got to meet up with John Petterlick and Aaron Greisen and Jake and I saw Bo there as well, and to see those guys 20 years, some years removed,
Hmm.
and just we were all so jacked up because River Falls is a very special place, and just to see getting some attention. I mean, this is what happens when hard work and grit and determination and strain takes over. And I've been diving into some of Matt's interviews and stuff, and seeing how really they just said, hey, look, we're going to go for this no huddle deal. And that's kind of where I'm coming back to. Rich Rodriguez's schemes were much, hey, we're going to get as many plays as we can, right? We're going to play as fast as we physically can. And you could see that apparent on Sunday in the game as well. in that second half, I mean, it was starting to suck wind a little bit, right? You
Yeah.
could see it taking its toll on the defense. And man, just what a special time! What an awesome game! I mean, we could sit here and BS about the entire game again, I'm sure. But just what a wonderful occasion, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. And you talk about playing for John O. I got to meet Coach O'Grady my first year on staff there, and he was our kind of like a special teams liaison, special teams consultant at the time. And but it's a lot of fun learning about the history and of the program because he's obviously been a legendary figure throughout the WIAC. I feel like he's coached at like 4 or 5 of the WIAC schools in general, and you guys ran the triple option, and I'm just thinking, man, were you potentially maybe the best dive player ever to do something like that in Division 3?
I have no idea, but I do know that when my football journey was ending in high school and trying to find a spot to go, I really didn't have any options. And I had seen, well, Coach O'Grady hadn't seen me in a while. The last time he saw me, I think I was in fifth grade, and I was a chubby, yeah, I was a chubby kid with some Coke bottle glasses, and my grandfather said, well, if you want to play football, you got to learn how to learn how to block. So I went in as an O lineman that first camp, and that's where I really learned the game of football. And so Coach O'Grady got to see me when I was in fifth grade, and then he got to see me as a senior in high school, and he was like, like, good God, what happened to you, man?
That's awesome.
And we kept in touch that year. And he said he'd help me out with anything, and he truly was awesome throughout the whole process. He even made some calls for me to schools, but nothing came to fruition. And I was sitting there like, hey, man, I still want to play football. I mean, doesn't matter where. I just still want to play it. The passion's still burning inside of me, So he gets me into to River Falls, and there was a very to play that position in that offense. There's only a few rules. You got to be pretty tough, right?
Yeah.
You got to be tough. Um, but you got to hit the hole the same way every time, right? That's what makes it work. So it doesn't matter if you're getting the DNs crashing the whole game and beating you up. You gotta never quit. And I remember, I think we were playing Whitewater, and I was getting a little irritated. I wasn't getting they weren't giving me much in the middle, and I was just getting wrecked by the DN. And I think I went in there kind of like a cream puff one time, and he pulled me off the side and he said, if you ever play like that ever again, you will never play for me another down.
Oh,
So I
that's
knew from that
awesome.
point it was all toughness.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What was the bar of choice in River Falls at the time?
Dude, I can't even really remember. I was a
maybe that's
freshman, all
maybe
right?
that's a good thing.
I
Yeah.
was a
Oh, sure.
freshman. So,
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
you're a
so
freshman, so
I was you know what, we were, and I don't know if the football house is still there, but at one point there was a football house, and that's where the action went down.
yeah. So I don't think it's called the football house anymore, but I believe that same house is now called Swamp, and guys live at Swamp. So I
Yeah.
think it's still a thing, but I think it's the same house if I'm not mistaken. You've said on Twitter you've been a big advocate for Division 3 on social media and whatnot. And you said in one tweet, as a guy who played 1 year in Division 3, then transferred to D1, then drafted to the NFL, it was just as passionate, if not more. And I trained and prepared the same way at all levels, but size was the difference in that whole thing. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think there's so many people that don't understand how talented this level is, and really all levels of football are, that there is truly just some genetic things that just separate those guys that go to, Division 1 FBS versus, maybe a Division 3 or Division 2 school.
Yeah, you know, the I say, it's passionate, if not more passionate, because at the Division 1 level, and now it's even crazier because guys are, the bait is the money, right?
Right.
Um, but back then, it's more about, and even when I went to West Virginia, nobody's checking your classes, right? Nobody's making you go to workouts. Nobody's making sure you're getting to practice or you're going to be at the team meeting on time or this or that. It's all you, right? It's all self accountability. So the passion, in my opinion, has to be there more than anything because uh, you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder telling you, "Hey, man, you need to get to class," or "Hey, you got to do this, you got to do that." It's all on you. Same thing with the weight room. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have lifting times, and I'm sure it's changed since Matt's been there, but when I was there, it was like they had three lifting times, you just kind of showed up. It wasn't like, a full blown team workout. It was kind of like you're just going in there to get a workout and you might have had like a buddy or two, that was with you. So, and then now that you guys got that fancy dancy athletic facility. I mean, I've seen the weight room. I'm like, man, I wish we would have had that back when that was going on. So, I mean, those are the types of things. Plus the size difference. I mean, you just and you could say size and speed, but I'm going to say this: everybody at Division 3 is competitive, just like at Division 1. They want to be there, right? They want to play. That's why we're still, that's why we're still there. I have a hard time sometimes getting through to younger players, high school players, describing to them about the different divisions. And really, what it comes down uh, for me, what I try to get them to understand is like, look, if you love playing football, if you still have competitive edge and want to play, there is, there's tons of places that you can go, right, and compete. Um, Now, facilities wise, yeah, it's not going to be a D1 program. I also made a tweet about, River Falls facilities rivaling D1 facilities. And I mean that. Look, they have every amenity you would ever want at a Division 1 facility. Every amenity. Um, Obviously they don't have the size of the stadium, but they have everything that you'd want at this, top tier program at these Division 3 levels. Now, not everybody does, right? I'm sure that's definitely helped in recruiting for RF for the last couple of years since they've had that. Um, you know, getting back to the main question, uh, you know, you have to want it. Right. And it's easy to say you want it when you're getting paid, right? Or there's a big dollar figure there. It's just harder to do it when it's the self discipline, self accountability. I mean, I'd like to almost see the number of D3 players, athletes in general, that get hired to jobs. It's probably a higher job percentage that they get it just because they know, look, this is all self accountability. It's
Yeah.
not, you don't, like I said, I could reiterate 100 times. There's no GAs running around checking classes, making sure you're going, right? You got to keep your grades up. You got to make sure that you're eating the right things and keep your nutrition, your fitness, all that good stuff. It's all on you. And I think that's why I made that comment. And I truly mean that.
Yeah. Obviously, then you go into West Virginia in a really historic run with West Virginia during that time. Obviously, Fiesta Bowl championship. And what was kind of that process getting to West Virginia? Because obviously, you went and had a fantastic freshman year, but I'm sure that was only half the battle. Trying to knock on some doors and kick the door down at some points, trying to get into a West Virginia type of school.
Yeah. So the big thing was, asking Coach O'Grady, right? Hey, Coach, after the season, hey, um, that was the hardest thing I think for me because he fought so hard for me to get there, uh, and asking his blessing, to move to the next level and kind of like what he thought about it, and he understood. It wasn't the first time that he's dealt with a player. Um, I guess that's happened to before. Maybe not one that's gone to River Falls and then left, but guys that have just asked for his advice. So uh, I do that. I make a highlight film, right? VHS tape, baby. You know what I mean? I got a I got a handful of VHS tapes, and my mom and I just kind of and I had a process where I kind of eliminated certain teams. And my goal was obviously, hey, I want to play Division 1. That's if that's where I'm going. You know what I mean? I had no plan B. Um so just drove up and down the East Coast a little bit, dropping films off mostly around the Northern Virginia area. And and from like Shippensburg, from like D2 schools to obviously Division 1, Virginia Tech, UVA. I even did JMU, and then Virginia, and then also uh, um, Maryland as well, and then Virginia, or West Virginia. So just dropped the films off there. West Virginia was the one that gave me some love, and I was able to go there and exchanged emails, did basically like a drive by of the campus, dropped the film off, just wanted to make sure the coach saw me. And then from there, Donnie Young got a hold of me through emails and got me. They said they obviously couldn't offer me any money, but they got me into school, and then that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, and then you become, you walk on, and then you're a starter, right? Your sophomore year, obviously in that fullback position. Now, I'm curious, with watching Caleb this weekend at all, does he remind you of Pat White whatsoever?
Yeah, there was a point for me in the game. I'm like, man, you know, obviously after winning the accolades that he's won this year, and people probably wanting to kind of see him shine. It was like second half, he really just was like, look, man, I'm gonna make this happen. So he's kind of put a little bit more pressure on himself, started making plays. He's so quick, man. So quick, very accurate in his throws. From what I had watched, especially through the playoffs, because that was the most film that I had gotten to watch. He wasn't as active as a runner, but in the championship game, in that second half, he just really took off, and you could see the definite similarities. He's obviously a dynamic player, and to be honest with you, the field conditions probably weren't in his best interest because it was frozen and slick. You know what I mean? So, but I could absolutely see correlation between both those players, and it was very apparent on Sunday.
Yeah, I want you to walk us through your NFL journey a little bit because it's unique because you don't see a lot of guys go from Division 3, then go to Division 1, light it up at Division 1, and then go to the NFL. What was it like hearing your name called? Obviously, don't once you got to the NFL because they don't even use fullbacks kind of like they used to, and so what was that experience like?
Oh man, you know, a dream come true. You know what I mean? Growing up a Packer fan, living in Gilman, so come from a small town, and just being able to, West Virginia was a dream come true for me.
Hmm.
And then to hear my name called, and get the opportunity to play, was next level. Like you said, fullbacks were kind of on the outs. They still kind of are. The game is just kind of evolving. But I can totally see them coming around. Even if you look at the playoff teams that are in this year, the majority of the teams have a fullback on them. The game's getting more, it's getting, speed is more the influence. But the problem with speed is size comes down, right? Unless you have these genetic freaks like DK Metcalf or something like that, or Derrick Henry. Like you just, those guys are, anomalies.
Right.
But you're seeing these guys, linebackers used to be 250, 260 pounds. Now
Yeah.
they're more like 230, 225. A team that utilizes a fullback like Baltimore with Pat Ricard.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, he's a 300-pound fullback. I mean, that is a mess of a human back there. And, just, matchups, um, downhill matchups, a 230 guy versus a 300-pound guy, I don't care who you are. You're not going to be able to, I mean, he's going to move you every time.
Right.
There's going to be
Yeah.
movement. There might be a stalemate, but it's going to hurt. You know what I mean? There's not
Yeah.
the 230-pound guy's not going to be able to sustain that. I mean, it's physics.
Right. Yeah, you talking about breaking laws of physics. Yeah, that dude for the Ravens definitely defies some of those basic human nature laws that we run into here and there. I want to talk about what you got going on now because I love the book that you wrote, The Little Fullback That Could. Can you talk about that a little bit and what kind of inspired you to do something like that?
Yeah. So, uh, Cassie, my better half, right? She's my better half. She's a preschool teacher here in West Virginia at Smoot Elementary. She was bugging me a little bit, kind of just poking at me a little bit to maybe hint the idea of trying to do something like that. And I said, well, I'm the kid that ate paint chips as a kid. I don't have, the skills to be able to write a book. She's like, well, it's just a children's book. We'll do something simple for the first one or whatever, and we'll do a counting book. And I laid out the progression. It's basically my journey from uh, from Gilman, Wisconsin, and there's a portion of River Falls there, and goes from me transferring to West Virginia and then becoming an NFL player, and then ultimately, becoming a dad. And it's just a fun book. It's got Easter eggs in it, hidden. It's locally illustrated, and the artwork's been done by some of her family members, um, Rachel and Josh Hendricks. So it's just a cool, inspiring book. For Mountaineer fans, they'll get it. There's a little bit of, like I said, there's some River Falls action in there in the beginning as well, on page 4. But it's just a neat story of kind of the journey. And then for the kids, kids that are learning, just learning to read, kids that are learning to count. It's a great opportunity for West Virginia fans, obviously, just because of that's heavily what it is. But any fans or anybody who's ever kind of watched my career or just enjoys football in general, uh, the dads can get into it with their kids, and it's just a fun learning experience. It's a cool story as well, and hopefully inspires kids to live their dreams and shoot for the stars.
Yeah. You also co-host In the Gun with a couple guys. Can you talk about where that came from and what's the coolest part about doing that with those guys?
Yeah, so In the Gun is a podcast. Jed Drennan, he's a sideline reporter for West Virginia. He played quarterback back in the day. He played for Rich Rodriguez and Wes Euler. He's a Pittsburgh Steelers um, radio guy, and then I also have Skylar Callahan, who does our graphics and our kind of do it all, jack of all trades. He also works in the Charlotte sports media area. It's just Jed kind of had a crazy idea. What's funny is we started that podcast before uh, Coach Rod even came back to West Virginia, so it was like it was so crazy when the university ended up bringing him back. So just a you know Jed, if you've ever listened to the podcast, Jed Drenning is his brain. I mean, he was meant to be a quarterback. His brain functions at you know over a computer intellect. I mean, he is
That's
able to
awesome.
retain information from archives of the little brain folds in his mind. Like he can just pull them out of his hat. He's got an unbelievable um, you know advantage and an unbelievable idea of the game of football, and understands you know doing the film scouting and understanding how to rate players, He does a great job of scout breakdowns and team breakdowns. He understands the coverage. I mean, he's the football guru. Wes and I are kind of color commentary. I mean, I'm more of the football perspective. Wes gets it from his broadcasting background, and then Skylar is kind of like all in the works. He's doing questions from scouting to reporting. I mean, he that's his world. So it's just four dudes talking football. Mountaineer football, mostly Big 12 stuff. Um, definitely have to tell Jed we're gonna have to get Matt on, and
Oh
probably
yeah,
Joe as well. We'll probably
yeah,
we'll get the whole gang, man. We'll get a bunch of guys. It's just good to shoot the shit and talk football, and that's kind of what In the Gun's about.
yeah. Yeah, it feels like that class of West Virginia guys just are just content, maniacs now. Obviously, former teammate Pat McAfee, very obviously well known. It's fun to. I mean, it was surreal to see River Falls being talked about by on that show because I'm such a huge fan and definitely a huge inspiration of what we do with D1 Rejects and Small School Saturday, and to hear him like shout out River Falls, I'm just like blows my mind. And so it's just it's been such a cool year. I think the other cool part about it is it's brought all these different generations together. Like I don't know if a million years that maybe you and I would cross paths, or me and like I mean, I met a lot of the guys from like the last conference championship team back in like 89 this year, or 80 or 90 98 I believe. And so this year it's just so cool to see everybody kind of come together and support the Falcons, support the crew. But yeah, definitely Coach Walker, he is a fantastic guest, and I'm sure he'll be more than willing to do something like that. But um, Owen, I can't thank you enough. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for continuing to support River Falls, even though obviously you're only there for a year. But you're the absolute man. It's fun catching up with you, and appreciate everything you do for football, man.
Man, I appreciate it. And hey, Small School Saturday, man. Hey, keep fighting, brother. I'm telling you, I love it, man. I love
It's
it.
it's such a it's obviously our take on college game day, but man, there's something about it that especially this past show, it was our best work, and it's been so much fun. But I appreciate the kind words on that. So
Hey, if you build it, they will come. Hey, who knows,
yes,
man? That's something,
yes.
maybe McAfee will, I might have to nudge him a little bit. Maybe he can give you some words of wisdom there.
We would take that all day long. That would be absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, we would take you up on that any day of the week. Anytime. But we'd love to see the place in person too. Just to watch how that whole sausage just made it would be absolutely fantastic. But again, Owen, can't thank you enough. You're the absolute. Are you still driving for UPS?
Yeah, I actually I just moved buildings. I'm here in Lewisburg.
Okay.
I'm an on-road supervisor down here in Lewisburg, so I train drivers now.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Well, I appreciate you, man. You're an absolute gem.
Hey, thank you for having me, brother, and hey, go Falcons, man. National
Absolutely.
champ,
Go
baby.
Falcons. Woohoo!